Hello, everybody watching us live, and for those who are going to be watching this on replay, welcome tonight. I have a special guest with me tonight, Kizzy Staten-Gray, and we are going to be talking about the importance of self-care. So, why are we doing this? A lot of our clients and followers have asked me for a session on self-care, especially during this time. So who else to talk to us but life coach Kizzy to talk about self-care? So my name is Lena Lassiter. For those of you who don't know me, I am the founder and president of Forever Heal, and we are a nonprofit. And what we do is we help our clients who are suffering from pain due to a loss of any kind to recover. And we do that in a couple of ways. So we offer one-on-one grief recovery classes, group grief recovery classes, and we also go out and we speak to those in corporate about the hidden costs of grief in the workplace. So due to COVID, we are not able to service our clients with group classes, which is fine. We want you guys to be safe. So what we decided to do for Mental Health Awareness Month was to partner with those in the community to just come together and provide hope, to provide love, to let you know that you guys are thought of, and to use social media and these type of platforms to still bring you some sense of healing. So with that being said, I am going to introduce our guest speaker tonight, and then we're going to jump on the topic of self-care. As always, if you have any questions, you want to shout us out to let us know that you're watching, please let us know where you're watching from. So shout out your city or your state, and we will make sure that we acknowledge you. So Kizzy Staten-Gray is a transformational leader. She's a certified life coach. She's a catalyst for change and voice of hope. She loves to help women rewrite the narrative of their lives with purpose, power, and confidence. And she said that is her objective. And what a powerful objective that is. In addition to that, she's an author, she's a mother, she's a wife, and she's also a designer. So we're going to show you the shirt she has on, one of her shirts now. And we're going to actually post a shirt and her website information at the end of this presentation. So we're going to talk about self-care tonight. So again, shout us out. Let us know that you're watching. Let us know what state you're watching from. Hi, Dr. Jackie. Good to see you. Thanks for supporting always. Dr. Jackie is a psychologist. She's going to come on next week.
Yay.
Hey, Auntie. Thanks for joining us. So self-care. So Kizzy, self-care is finally getting the attention it deserves. It's important for us to take care of our emotions and how hard that can be, right? Because we often do not know what that means. We have to allow ourselves to experience our feelings of vulnerability without guilt. And I don't think a lot of us understand how to do that. So why is it that even though we know that it's important to take care of ourselves, we just can't seem to find the time or the energy to do it? Why do we so often have trouble not just taking care of ourselves, but and being kind to ourselves? Besides that, with so many other things that we have to do, right? It just feels like if we want to take care of ourselves, it almost feels like a selfish act to some of us. But never mind that we all know, as the airlines tell us, we say that all the time, you have to put your own mask on before trying to help someone else, right? So when you have the responsibility of caring for someone else, whether it's your children, whether it's your parents, whether it's a spouse or partner, we have to find the time, I feel, Kizzy, to just show ourselves some compassion sometimes. And we just don't do that. So self-care. Why self-care, Kizzy? And please talk about the book that you authored, so that those who are watching can order a copy of your book if they want to. But why self-care?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me, Lena. It's a pleasure to be here and to speak to your audience. Self-care is vitally important because if we don't take care of ourselves, then we don't have strength for our journey. We can't fulfill our purpose to the fullest and reach our potential because you could be overwhelmed or burnt out or just, not having the energy you need and the endurance you need to reach your destination and whatever God would have for you to do. So in order to be efficient, effective, to be able to be a blessing in whatever capacity you serve, whether you are a CEO, a leader of an organization, if you're in ministry, if you are a parent, if whatever capacity you serve in order to be your maximum best to help others, you must put your own oxygen mask on first, pour from a full vessel, not an empty vessel, because you have to give from your overflow. So if you're running on fumes and if you are just low energy and if you just really depleted, you don't have a lot to give. And that's right. Important that you are able to give from a place of fullness, and because when you're not giving your best. You're not functioning in your best. We all charge our cell phones, when they're getting low, and we don't let them run on E. We don't want them to die because why? We need to be contacted. We need to be reached in case of an emergency, but we don't do the same to our bodies. And that's so important, not just physically, but also, like you said, emotionally, spiritually, holistically, every part of our being. Some people focus on the outside exterior. They got the hair done, their eyelashes slayed, and face beat, and everything's popping, everybody's looking good. But internally, they're wounded, they're hurt, they're just dealing with internal issues that they have not gotten healing from. And I love what you do in your organization, Forever Healed. That's so important. For grief of any kind, it's so vitally important to get the wholeness, the healing that you need. And I love that it says forever healed. Oh my gosh, what a blessing. Like that right there, the title in and of itself is intriguing, and it's also compelling for someone who wants to have that continual, steady fullness of healing, who don't want to be on a yo-yo roller coaster ride with like, oh, I thought I was okay, but now I see that I have another trigger that set me off, and so it's important that you really get to the root of issues. And you mentioned the book. And so that was one of the reasons why I wrote the book. And this is a 21-day transformational journal, but it's a self-care reflection guide. And the reason this is so beneficial is because I was in a crisis in my own life, juggling so many things at once, wearing many hats like I still do, but I know now to replenish, to restore, to refuel so that I can have more to give and not just run on fumes. And so when I was in a place, the Lord was revealing to me my heart, my motives, why I was doing this. Why was I running on fumes? Why was I, doing the most, and serving in all these capacities? And it was a self-check. I had to look introspectively. It was a hard, painful process. But what I learned in that process and what he revealed to me is that I was a people pleaser. Wow. And that I had issues. I had mother-father wounds. And I was, had insecurities and low self-esteem. And I needed the applause of men. And I was doing all these things so that I can hear, well done from people, And so that was a driving point that led me to a place where I almost crumbled because I was in a place in life where I had a crisis in my family. My husband had to be out of work having back surgery. And meanwhile, I was heavily involved in ministry. I was serving in various capacities, running a business, homeschooling my kids, my 5 children, and their various activities. I had a lot of balls that I was juggling. And then putting that one more thing, that one more responsibility of being private nurse to my husband to help him recover was the straw that broke the camel's back. And I did not even realize how overwhelmed I was, how, just how depleted I was until that thing tipped it all over. And then God began to show me. He began to reveal things to me. And when I got still and quiet, because I was on the rat race, right? I was on the hamster wheel, going, and not noticing the magnitude in which I was buried in responsibility. And when God began to reveal to me in a still, quiet place and begin to show me, that's when I got this whole epiphany. Hey, I need to recharge. I need to reboot. I need to replenish. And so that's what led me to do the journal. And so it was through journaling that I received healing, of course, much prayer, and being able to process my thoughts, understand my triggers. Why was I this way? Why did this happen? Why was I facing rejection? And, discovering the root of abandonment in my life, things that I have faced from year after year, and then cycles that repeated in my life, on and on. So this was as a result of things that I swept under the rug. And then life is so busy, we don't deal with it, Right. And so now in a pandemic, now is a time when we are on a more relaxed schedule, and we are more have more time off, that we can now reflect, because reflection is so key. And you have to take an assessment of where you are. If you evaluate where you are, then you can now determine, where you want to go, how you want to move forward. But in this time of prayer, meditation on the scripture, whatever it is that you're doing, this is a great time to look introspectively and allow the Lord to reveal things to you about yourself that you may not have known. Yes, I have lived my whole life with myself and did not realize, the state and I had not located myself in 40 some odd years. And so it was just an eye-opening experience, because I thought I knew myself well enough, but I didn't. And it really was a process over the past, I would say, 3 years, that I began to now do a whole pivot and do a shift and just have a paradigm shift. The Lord beginning to deal with me. You need rest. You need rest. You need time to recoup. And rest is not just physical only, but I definitely need that physical rest so He can have time. He said, I need time alone with you. And He even prompted me to begin to take time alone and vacations alone by myself, without my husband, without my children. I have 5 kids, without all of that, so that He can download to me what it is that He wanted to share with me. So he showed me many times, I need you to myself, so I can give you wisdom, intel, insight, downloads from heaven, so that I can show you how to proceed in life, in business, and parenting, in every aspect of who I am, and the capacities in which I serve. And it was just so eye-opening. I mean, it's revolutionary. So now I know to take the time, right? And it may seem selfish, and before the Lord revealed it to me, and the importance of it all, I was like, no, how can you do that? I would hear parents or different people say, like, they would do this or get time to themselves and like practice, have an hour to themselves. I'm like, how are they doing this? Like, how is that possible? How do you not feel guilty? And so I've learned now, because it's important, that I can't serve from an empty place. I can't serve in any capacity. I have to get filled. And so that started my journey. That's how I got on this track. And I wanted to help others, because I know that, other women are suffering, just like you, Lena, leading other people. You know what it takes to help other people out. Once you know that you have gotten out, you want to help other people out. And that's what began my journey.
I like that, because we tend to say that, hurt people hurt people. But those who have been freed, they want to help everybody to be free. Those who are recovered, they want to help everybody to recover. Those who are delivered, they want to deliver everyone. So that's good. That was powerful. I mean, it was a lot of nuggets that you said there, you know, and I like how you even use the analogy of charging in your cell phone, right? Or charging in that computer, whatever it is. And we don't realize that we have to recharge ourselves. Another thing that stood out to me, Kizzy, when you were talking about our motives. So sometimes we do have to watch our motives behind being busy. So even in the grief, you know, world, we deal with grief. We tell people that sometimes you are busy to not feel. So sometimes our motive in getting busy is because we don't want to sit with ourselves, like you were talking about, right? Because it can be uncomfortable. So awesome tips there. And then you were talking about, you know, being a mother and, you know, a wife and just different relationships and even how we serve, right? Our capacity of how we serve. How does self-care affect relationships?
Well, definitely you must be full. I mean, you know, because I can't be an effective child of God in my prayer time, in my own devotion time, my relationship with God, if I am depleted. If I just come in at the end of the day and drop on a sofa, I'm done. There's nothing left in me, you know, because I've given it all at work or I've given it all in my business, you know, and that's not, you know, God's best for our lives. And so same way, if I can't just drop down on the sofa, if I know I got to serve my family, now I got to cook dinner, I've got to get, you know, lunches prepped, I've got to get, you know, whatever I need for my family, maybe iron my husband's clothes, whatever it is that I need to do. I can't do that if I'm so depleted, if I am so overdrawn, withdrawn, over, you know, bankrupt in my energy, emotions, or what have you. And I can't serve well from that. And so generally as women, we serve well anyway. It's second nature for us to serve, but we can't do our best and serve in excellence and do things with the spirit of excellence if we don't have enough. And so it impacts our relationships in everything that we're connected to. And even in positions that we're connected to, it definitely impacts every single aspect. And one of the things you said about being busy, and I have this quote here, in talking about being busy, and if we don't take the time to pay attention and attend to ourselves and evaluate and just be still to listen. One of the things it says, and I just love this quote, and I say it every time I have to speak on it, but it says you can eat the kale, you can drink the alkaline water, you can take the supplements, do the Pilates, hit the gym, but if you don't deal with the stuff going on in your heart and mind, you're still unhealthy. That wasn't the right quote. But anyway, that wasn't a quote. There's a quote about being busy. Wait a minute. Let me give it to you. I quoted you one time. But anyway, here's the quote about being busy. All right. Okay, so just a moment. It's about being busy, and then basically is a response. Okay, here it is. This is a quote I give. Feeling the need to be busy all the time is a trauma response and fear-based distraction from what you'd be forced to acknowledge and feel if you slow down. And that's one of the things we do as people. We are so busy. We're trying to do, in many things, we might be trying to climb the corporate ladder. We may be trying to, you know, get established in a certain rank in ministry or an organization or what have you. However, if we just, you know, take the time to go at God's pace or to allow God to show us our own rhythm and reveal ourselves to us, you know, it's life changing. It's life changing, but it's hard to face. You know, if you've had trauma issues in the past, and trauma doesn't always mean physical abuse. It could be verbal, it could be emotional, it could be abandonment or rejection from a parent, a spouse, or what have you, rejection of any kind, or abandonment of any kind, a husband that has left, or what have you. So any of those trauma responses, we fill the void by being busy and doing, but not even taking the time to address the real root issue. Take the axe to the root And so you don't have to deal with all the surface layers that don't resolve any issues in our lives. So yeah, I just wanted to piggyback on that with you because I love
That
that.
was good. You got to send me that quote. I'm with you, Lisa. I need to keep that one in front of me too. Thanks, Cassandra. It definitely is good. Some good stuff tonight, right? Thank you, Kizzy. So, Kizzy, I need you to help our viewers and anyone who's going to watch this via replay. What are some practical steps that we can take to implement self-care? I just want you to speak from your heart right now, just some words of wisdom to us.
So we all know the basics, you know, self-care. People think of pampering, getting their hair done and nails done, and that's self-care too. And that's wonderful to do. So, you know, just take some time to yourself, take a walk around the block, get some exercise, drink plenty of water. All those are basic, fundamental forms of self-care. But self-care also is protecting your boundaries, being able to say no. And no is a complete sentence and it doesn't require an explanation. So if people are inviting you,
say that one more time, please.
I said no is a complete sentence and it does not require an explanation. And you got to be okay with saying no and not feel guilty for wanting to explain. It's okay. It's okay to say no, because one of the things we have to do is have boundaries in our lives and protect ourselves in several capacities, whether somebody wants you to run errands for them all the time or borrow money or whatever it is. No. And you know, if you have to give something, I can't do it at this time. You know, if you have to give an explanation, but eventually as you build your muscle in saying no, you'll learn to just say no. And so, but one of the things is get plenty of sleep, of course, you know, but also with your boundaries, and knowing who to allow into your inner circle. And if there's negativity, knowing how to block it. Okay. And so self-care is limiting your intake of negativity. So whether in a time like this, in a pandemic, if that means turning off the media, if it's too much, you know, negativity coming on through the news, through the radio, whatever, turn it off. So to protect your spirit, to protect your peace, to protect your mind, blocking things, that's a wonderful barrier. And that is definitely self-care. Also, people, if you need to limit your interactions with negative people, don't answer. You see who's calling me. Thank God we got a caller ID on our cell phones. But if you see somebody gonna call with the same old story, the same old drama, the same old stuff, then you're like, okay, you're gonna entertain that less. And that is self-care. That is practicing self-care at its finest. You know, being able to just limit that access to you. Because if you know at the end, if you feel drained after that conversation, your spirit is low and they done brought you down and you was already in a good mood, no, you got to practice self-care and limit that. And so what it does is some of the benefits of self-care, of course, it rejuvenates your energy. It causes you to be positive and not feel overwhelmed, but it gives you better physical health, enhances your self-esteem, rejuvenates and restores. It causes your creativity to flourish, you know, and it improves your resistance to disease. Because if you're run down all the time, then your immune system gets low and you're more susceptible to, you know, catching colds and flus and viruses and all kinds of things like that. Slow your pace, slow your roll, and begin to, you know, be able to practice self-care. Another thing too, even in practicing self-care, with the internal healing and wounds, if you don't deal with those things, because they don't go away, it's a misnomer to think that time heals things. Time heals nothing if you don't face it and deal with the things that are plaguing you, that are causing you not to sleep at night or causing you to have anxiety attacks and things like that. If you are wrestling with not being able to sleep at night, you have to deal with that thing because it does not go away. It doesn't go away with time. You can sweep it under the rug, but if you don't deal with it, it's still there. It's waiting for something to trigger it again. And so if you don't practice self-care and deal with the root of the thing, then how does that manifest in your physical body? What it does is it'll manifest in hypertension. It manifests in high blood pressure, anxiety attacks, heart palpitations, stress, tumors. Like a lot of times when people are dealing with unforgiveness, it manifests in your physical body too, in a way. Like I said, again, tumors and stuff is definitely often directly associated with unforgiveness. And even medical doctors who are not, necessarily believers have seen in their practices when people forgive, they heal faster, they recover quicker from medical surgeries and things like that. So it's scientifically proven. But if we think we're going to carry this thing around and not forgive so and so, and they owe me an apology and all of these kinds of things, you're missing out on your health. Forgiveness is not for them, it's for you. It's to release you from the prison of, being trapped in this thing all day, all year, for 5 more years, for another whole decade of things that's unresolved. And now you're bearing that in manifestation in your physical body. So not only are you not peaceful, and not only are you still emotional behind it, but now you're having physical results as a result of unforgiveness. So all of that still is self-care too. And so I know it's so many layers, it's multidimensional, but I just wanted to give a broad understanding of what it is. You know what I mean? So it's not just the one type of thing. Like, I'm gonna go to bed early tonight, but it's other things as well.
Right. Very good. Woo, that was powerful. And one thing that we talk about during our grief recovery classes, the comment that you made about the time, right? So time in and of itself does not heal. It's what you do within that time. So thank you for reminding us. Yeah, we need to forgive, right? Even during that time, to make sure that we're not harboring that stuff, and also giving that person control over you. They're just living in your head. Right? You're allowing them to do that. So, and you're right, it's for us. So
it's for us. And they may be living their life, going on, not even knowing, not even caring, or they could have passed away and been be deceased. And you're still holding on to what Big Mama did or could have, should have done, or they should have left you the land, or that you didn't get the inheritance, or whatever the issue is. You're holding on to that thing is not going to change a thing. You must release, you must forgive, even in their absence, even if you never get an apology, even if you never hear the words, I'm sorry, move on. You have to release it, give it to God, and trust him with your hurt. Trust him with your pain. Or if you need to get counseling from a spiritual advisor at your church, a spiritual leader, or if you need to get counseling or therapy from a therapist, and just seeing someone. And I know we have, and this is Mental Health Awareness Month.
Yeah.
But I know that we have stigmas attached, as we as a people often have stigmas against mental health issues. But it's nothing wrong with getting help that you need, and forget what anyone thinks about it. Go ahead and get your healing. And one of the things I've heard said before, and I think is so powerful and profound, and it is, let the counselor or the therapist reveal what the issue is, and then let God heal it. So let them reveal, let the professional reveal it, but then let God heal it. So that means give it to him, put it on the altar, release it, forgive, move on, receive your healing from it. But it's necessary. So their role is necessary. So it's not like, one negates the other, and you're not any less in faith by getting professional help. You're not any less, no more than you are any less in faith than seeking a lawyer's advice, or a mechanic, or a professional in insurance, or what have you. You're not any less of a believer or any less of a Christian in faith, because you're seeking the medical attention of someone who can help you process your pain, process your emotions. There's no thing wrong with doing that.
Amen. You know, because if we were to break our leg, and I say this often, you would go seek that medical attention to get the bone reset, right? And to heal.
Yes.
What about our hearts, right? And then sometimes as believers, and me and my co-pastor were just talking about this, you know, the Bible says to seek wise counsel, right?
Yes.
So that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have, you know, a Christian counselor. You can seek a professional. Even Pastor Randy said to me one time, if you want a painter to paint your house, do you want a Christian or do you want a painter?
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
So that was so deep to me, you know? So it's okay to seek medical attention. It's okay to seek counseling. And Dr. Jackie is going to be talking about that next week. Whew, the stigmas behind seeking counseling.
Yes,
for those of you who are watching, do you have any questions for Kizzy? If you have questions, just post your comments and I can pop them up on the screen for her while we still have her here. I see all the comments. Any questions?
One of the things that's also self-care is taking a vacation. I've met so many people who don't vacation and don't see the need to. I was one of those persons. First of all, I was a workaholic, I say that I'm a recovering workaholic and perfectionist. And perfectionist is okay. So that's a myth. I mean, you'll never reach perfection. And so that is also a response to an orphan mentality and not sonship. Okay. And so perfectionism, we're striving out of a deficit, a need to please, or whatever it is. Okay. So one of the things, I didn't take vacations. I didn't take days off work when I was in a workforce. I didn't take time off. I would work my days off. They're like, oh, you got a vacation day, and I would work. And I found an identity in, working and being perfectionist and all of these things, but that is no benefit. And one of the things, statistically, it's proven that people who take vacations live longer. Okay. Marriages last longer if you take vacations. And so think about those kinds of things as well. So I know that's, people do associate that with self-care, but I just wanted to reflect on the importance of that, because there's so many people who's like, I'm not taking a vacation. They don't want to miss a check. I mean, even if it's a paid vacation, they feel like they can earn more by keep working. Instead of trusting God with their finances, trusting God with their time away, trusting God with their time away from their business, trusting God with their time away from whatever their responsibilities are, and He will make up the gap or supply the need or bring helps or divine help, whatever is needed. So yeah, that's self-care too.
I'm gonna schedule my vacation. Lisa, you hear that? All right, we do have a question, Kizzy, from Cassandra. How do you exercise self-care from your job if one of your primary duties require you to be available 10 to 12 hours out of the day?
Oh my gosh, that was me. Oh my gosh, that was my life. I had 5 children, working 10 to 12 hours a day, really crazy, 7 days a week. And this was a job where God was showing me in a quiet place, even though I was working hard. But anyway, in this time, you have to trust God with the things that you feel insecure about. Some of us who can be perfectionists find it hard to delegate because we want things done well. We want things done with excellence. We know that if it's going to be done right, we can do it ourselves, right? And so some of the times we're going to have to allow concessions to go ahead and delegate it to somebody, even if they don't do it the best, even if it doesn't turn out, the best. We just have to really begin to trust God in every area. And I would say that's, you just have to trust God. And that's an area where you can establish your trust in Him, that it's going to go well. I'm going to trust God that if I've talked to my boss, I need this time off. and give it to God. Okay, I'm going to present this to my boss. This is what I need, and put that on the table and trust God. And don't feel like, oh, if I just tell my boss this, he's going to look at me funny. He's going to treat me differently. I might lose my job. No, whatever it is, trust God with it. And I mean, that's what you just have to do. If it's a delegation matter, trust God. If it's a superior issue with your authority on the job, trust God with it. You're going to have to carve out time, put your own boundaries in, put your foot down, recognize your worth and your value, and say, I need this. So it's not about what does or doesn't go right. I know what I need. I have to pull away. I have to withdraw from this situation so that I can recover, so that I can rejuvenate, so I can be the better me. Self-care makes me a better me, right? A better me is a better you. So if I'm serving in an employment under you, Lena, and if I am coming to work dragged down, beat down all the time with some excuse, can't perform well, if I get the rest I need, then it's going to make my job easier and your job easier. So a better me is a better you. A better me is a better wife to my husband. A better me is a better mom to my children. A better me is a better employee to my boss, in every way. So get what you need, put your foot down, put a demand on what you need for your life. And it doesn't matter. You trust God with the consequences. Trust him with it. Touch them. Yeah. I would say that's the trust.
All right, Cassandra, I'm gonna follow up with you to see if you have done that. Kim, this is a great point. So, Kim says, even if you're on disability or you're stay at home, you work from home and you just stay at home, time away from home is also great because it's a new scene.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So okay, self-care is so many things. And even within your home, self-care, you need to get away, get a breath of fresh air, take a walk around the block. Go, if you work from home, work at Starbucks today. Go work at the library today. And I know these things aren't open now because this is a quarantine, but I'm just painting a picture here. Sometimes you need to get away to get a freshness, a fresh point of view, a perspective. When we walk away from our work, or if we get a change of setting, it allows us to have a new creativity that is birthed. So creativity flourishes where self-care is present. Okay. Another thing too, clutter steals your creativity. Clutter causes stress. So cleaning your room, cleaning your desk, cleaning your drawer, cleaning your computer, cleaning different things, whatever it is for you that you need to clean and declutter, causes you to have a clear mind, a more peaceful mind. It causes you to be able to have better productivity. Okay. And so we think that it doesn't bother us, but statistics have proven that decluttering clears your mind. It brings peace. You're allowed to sleep better at night. Just simple things like that. And I've heard that even with successful people, with millionaires, the successful habits of millionaires, one of the things they do is get rid of things, get rid of extra, get rid of, minimalize. And listen, I need help in minimizing. So I'm not one to just, this is the pot called in kettle black. But that's an area that I'm working on, and I do know and have proven just in my studies with this, and God has shown me so much and given me so much insight and wisdom with this, in that I'm having areas to stretch and grow in. But that is an area too. So if you're working from home, clean your workspace. If you're working from home, don't take your work to your bedroom. If you're working from home, don't take that phone in the bedroom at night. Be able to have a wind down time so that you're not working all the way up to bedtime. So you're still wired, you're still up, you're still on. Allow yourself some time to degress and to get away from the work so that when you go to bed, you'll have more peaceful time. And plus, also statistically proven that we respond to the blue lights in the screens of our laptop, to our cell phone, to the blue lights in our room. And, if you have a TV in your room, all of that, you need time to unplug and to get some quiet time and have a downtime routine before going to bed. So like all of these things work, and I've been working from home for 10 years, and I run 2 businesses. And so learning how to even put boundaries within the house, okay? Boundaries within blocks of time. If you need to set a schedule and a block schedule. So to say, I'm going to do this for this amount of hours, and then afterwards, I'm going to respond to my clients and emails and voicemail and all of this thing. So putting boundaries in every way helps you. So we think that boundaries, is restricting, but boundaries actually create freedom. There's structure, and it gives you a freedom, so you don't feel like, oh, I got to respond. I got to call this person back. I got to do, but if you have a system, and if you have a schedule, and if you have boundaries and say, okay, I'm not responding to any clients until after 12. I'm going to spend 9 to 12 actually working on my business, doing my productive work. And then I'm going to respond to emails later and phone calls later. You just have to put boundaries in every aspect of it. And if you want to keep all your work in your office, or if you work from your dining room or whatever, just learn how to keep it boundaries where they are, so that that you don't cross the lines. Because one of the things is hard, and now that especially that that people are homeschooling all around the world as a mandate because of the pandemic, you have to try to, I hate to use the word balance, because it really isn't a balance. So I would say strike a harmony and a flow and a rhythm in your own home, because now we have people working from home. Right. We have people having to have their children finish out the school year and their assignments. And we having to also still live in that same house, work from home, school our children, cook, clean, everything's in the 4 walls. So you have to take breaks. You got to have to take mental breaks. You got to take a get up and movement break, even with your children. Get up and we just going to dance, 5 minutes, walk around the block, go out, jump rope, just like the 5 little nugget breaks are just really impactful. And then again, there's a study on that. So you can even Google that, what it does to take mental breaks and to have those different outlets, so that you can just have a brain break or a brain dump and all those kinds of things. And so it's impactful. So now you can come back fresh, like, okay, I'm ready to go to the next step. Okay, let's do the next thing, So it's not a burnout for you and your child or whatever. So, but you definitely have to have some great. And so let your bedroom, your master bedroom, be your haven. Light your candles, put on your essential oil diffuser, whatever it takes to make that your heaven. So because you work from home, you want that when you go transition to the next room, that, okay, now I know I'm off. My brain is shifted now. I'm shifting in this atmosphere. Now I'm here. Now I can relax. I can put it all down. But if I bring that laptop to my room, I'm still working till, 10, 11 at night. No, you have to draw the line. Even if it's not finished, even if you didn't get a call them back, you got to release yourself, because you are in a situation that is unusual for everyone right now. Give yourself a break. Okay. Give yourself a break in this time and say, hey, I'll get to it tomorrow. Some things you have to let go and not hold on to. And so that's one of those things. And that's self-care.
Amen. Thank you so much. And thanks to everybody who's watching. Thank you guys for commenting. Thank you for your questions. Again, this is Mental Health Awareness Month. So we're going to be out here all month long talking about issues that matter to you, bringing hope, bringing healing, bringing the community together. We have Dr. Jackie coming next week to talk about the stigma of mental health and the minority communities. We also have Reverend Powell coming to talk about pastors and self-care. So tell your pastors they need to stay tuned next week. We really appreciate you guys. Kizzy, beautiful woman of God. Thank you for the nugget. Extremely, extremely helpful. I really appreciate you. Guys, share this video with anyone that you know who could benefit from self-care. Share, check us out on our YouTube channel. I'm going to add Kizzy's information at the end of this email. You can actually buy the shirt that she has created, that she has on. I'm going to get me one as well. And then you can also go to her website, www.kizzystateandgray.com/shop, and then you can order a copy of her journal. Have a blessed night, everybody. Thank you for joining us, Kizzy.
Thank you.
Awesome job. Awesome job.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm so thankful to be here. You're such a blessing. I love the work that you do, and it is so impactful to lots of people, lots of women, and I appreciate the work that you do.
You as well. And thank you for taking time to hang out with me tonight, Kizzy. I appreciate you. Love you.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Thanks for watching, Dr. Jackie. Good night, everybody.
Good night.